Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Telecast TV. I'm Miracle Angola. You're watching a conversation with human rights activist Oby Ezekwesili speaking at Arise TV. He said that the Senate is playing with fire by deceiving Nigerians without giving us a proper clarification of the bill passed in the Senate, because according to the news coming out from the Senate, they reject the transmission of results from the ward level. In other words, the transmission of results will not be possible from the ward, which will give room to another manipulation of results manually. And she sparked reaction by saying the Senate is playing with fire. Is this her comment true? What's your thoughts? What's your opinion? What's your contribution about this? Endeavor to subscribe. Watch to the end. Don't forget to hit the notification bell, subscribe, like, share your thoughts. Don't miss trending videos.
The Senate on Wednesday passed a bill to amend Nigeria's Electoral Act, strengthening the country's electoral system and aligning it with current realities. The amendment bill was approved after lawmakers engaged in over 5 hours of debate and clause-by-clause consideration. The bill had generated controversy since its introduction in the upper chamber. Unlike the House of Representatives, where it passed without dissent, several provisions sparked disagreement among senators, prompting the Senate to establish an ad hoc committee to harmonize the contentious clauses. Joining us on this show to discuss the true status of the Electoral Act as amended, as it pertains to either transfer or transmission of results electronically to the IREV, is Oby Ezekwesili, an advocate for transparency, good governance, a humanitarian, and an activist. Good morning, madam, and thank you for joining us on the morning show.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Happy
ma'am.
Bless you, ma. Happy New Year, ma.
Happy New
Good
Year.
to see you. Bless you, ma.
Well, this morning, I read your piece in which you were directly addressing the National Assembly and telling them, knowing when to stop playing with fire. However, the contentious issue here is a section of the Electoral Act 2022 about whether the thing is to transfer the result or to do electronic transmission, and whether INEC has discretion over that. And you said what was proposed to the Senate in particular was that there should be real-time transmission of results, and that what the senators have now decided upon is a certain ambiguity that was in the 2022 Electoral Act, and that in that regard, they are playing with fire. What kind of fire? Are there remedial options that you can still recommend? And the ambiguity, even the minority caucus, led by Senator Abaribe Enyenaya yesterday, was saying, no, there's no disagreement. What we're just saying is, we are not saying transfer, we're saying transmission. So, what do you think the problem is? About trust. You talked about trust.
I think that the fundamental issue is that the Senate retained the INEC 2022 Act, Section 60, subsection 5, which actually became infamous for the loophole that it provided for the INEC to not accord Nigerians the basis to trust it anymore. You know why? Because the then chairman of INEC kept telling, especially the young people of this country, that he was assuring them that they would exercise the effectiveness of using online transmission into the INEC results viewing portal. Now, when they failed to do that, it became a basis for doubting what happened at polling units in the country. It became the basis on which the judicial pronouncements were made that actually the law does not mandate INEC to upload results at every polling unit. Once that was established as the basis for the lack of transparency and the opacity and the many shenanigans that we saw with polling results, there was nothing that anyone could say further. So the opportunity for reform of the INEC Act was embraced by citizens and, in fact, some of the lawmakers as one that must not be missed. And so that every ambiguity, every loophole, every opportunity for discretion on the part of the institution on a matter that is at the heart of the transparency, the integrity, the credibility, and therefore the legitimacy of our democracy must be taken. Now, if that then went before the Senate, and the Senate decided to do a sort of let sleeping dog lie, when indeed that was not the intention, the citizens have every reason to be as outraged as they currently are. That's it, Dr. Abati.
All right, thank you very much. So you talk about, and I'm glad that you ended on the note of, and you're very welcome, ma'am, you end on the note of the citizens being very angry about this. And yesterday I'd asked a question around the office of the citizen, if I put it that way, and I know that's a phrase that you're very familiar with and you talk about quite frequently. What is the next line of action? Because it seems like that office has been quite dormant for a long time. And at the risk of not, being accused of inciting people to take the laws into their own hands, what are the lawful paths for citizens to engage their representatives, to get involved, so that we don't have, betrayal of trust, as you described it, by, elected representatives? Mm-hmm.
So we do know that the reason citizens love democracy is that of all the political systems, this is the only political system in which they legitimize public leadership. So the office of the president is the highest office in the land, but it is the office of the citizen that gives legitimacy to it. And nobody becomes president if a citizen does not vote for them collectively, unanimously, according to the terms of any legislation that underpins that democracy. That is why we say that the office of the citizen is in fact the highest office in the land. So when the citizens, who are the anchor on which democracy is built, now say that an experience in the 2023 election was terrible. It did not build their confidence in their democracy. It eroded it. Please change that vexing provision, because why should you be afraid of transparency? We, the citizens, want transparency. So give it to us. And then the government, the National Assembly, the Senate fails to do that. The options are very clear. The citizens are already speaking loudly and saying, this is not our expectation. Number two is that they will speak even more loudly to each of their representatives, their senators, their members of the House, and say, this is not what we want. Number three is that they would go forward to a place like the National Assembly and ask for a public hearing that they want this matter to be put to rest, that what majority of this country is asking for is the real-time upload of results in police centers. And then they would collectively hold down the National Assembly to accountability, because that's what they owe the citizens. I believe that when you listen to the people who are talking about how vexed they are about the disingenuous approach that the Senate is trying to bring into this matter, you find that what they are saying is this could be the end of our engaging with democracy at all. Okay. Now, that is bad. That is bad. Yeah. When citizens begin to disavow themselves from democracy, those who are in power should be worried.
Okay, ma. Good to see you, ma. Happy New Year, ma.
So what did I propose? Yes.
No,
yes.
I got what you proposed.
Yes.
And what you proposed is right on point. And I don't know why we're using the word inciting. I mean, you pee on people's back, you tell them not to react. You slap them in the face, you tell them not to react. Was the current APC inciting when they staged Occupy Nigeria protests and subsidy protests, when they supported those protests back in the days? Was that inciting? When they shut this country down for the first 12 days of the year? Was that inciting? And I want to speak as a citizen today. Don't these lawmakers get it that the citizens have already even checked out of the process enough? Our incumbent president, do you know how many Nigerians have voted him? Less than 35% of the registered voters came out to vote. It means they've checked out. They've gone. They're not interested. And you now go ahead and make them more uninterested with this? At least last year, with all the rallying we did and all the sweet talking and the likes of Mr. Guinea coming here, it was just about 35% we got, even less than that. Can you imagine a country where less than 35% of the voting population voted in the president? And now, you are even telling them that they're stupid even more, and we're talking about incitement. I mean, what else? How are we going to tell these people again? How? Should we go down, kneel down and beg them or lick their foot? What are we going to do?
No, they have a duty. They have a duty to the citizens.
They don't understand duty.
That's why I said to them, yes, they have a duty. Listen, Rufai, that's why I used the word that mothers would use. I'm sure that most of us that grew up in homes where we had mothers that really took care of us and cared about our future, they would say to us, stop playing with fire. Stop playing with fire. You see, it's almost as if the political class, especially as exemplified by the Senate, just wakes up every morning and says, what shall we do today to upset Nigerians? Now, anyone who at all supports the idea that it is okay for citizens to not be, very annoyed at the excesses and the sheer lack of, even wisdom on the part of our senators. I don't know where that person is reading from. Nobody wants anybody to be incited. But it is entirely necessary for citizens to know that they are acting within their right when they exercise what Thomas Jefferson, one of the legendary presidents of the United States, said, that eternal vigilance is the price that citizens pay for freedom, for liberty. These senators cannot run Nigeria as though it were their fiefdom. It's not. Nigerian democracy belongs to the people. It doesn't belong to the politicians.
Okay, madam.
So the citizens are well within their right to insist. I have recommended that the senators should immediately cancel their 2 weeks emergency vacation from plenary and reconstitute and just make sure that they pass what the text of that provision says. The text is it's unambiguous. It's just so straight to the point. It's not something that you need to wonder, what is it saying? It says that upload of result will happen at the polling unit, every polling unit. And what it says clearly is that it is in real time. in real time. Let me read it clearly for avoidance of any confusion. The text of the key proposed provision from the Electoral Act Amendment Bill is, and I quote, "The presiding officer shall electronically transmit the results from each polling unit to the INEC results viewing portal, IREV, in real time. And such transmission shall be done after the prescribed Form EC8A has been signed and stamped by the presiding officer, and where available, countersigned by the candidates or polling unit agents," end quote. Now, let me tell you my final word on this. The senators know how to walk away from this. Let them do it. Because, frankly speaking, fire is dangerous. Transparency is better.
Well, thank you very much, Mrs. Oby Ezekwesili, for joining us on the morning show. The point is clear. We hope they will listen.